Hi Neil. Hi Annalise. Hi cicadas. Jesus. Um, guys sound like you're having a great time in Jamaica. I can't wait to go next year. It's gonna be awesome. But I listened to the show today, and I heard your fave five, and I wanted to contribute, but I did not want to, send about 30 tweets with my stories and yada yada yada. And I didn't really want to get on Facebook because who does? So and actually this is the second time I'm shooting this video because the first time I did it like that, and that's just a code 2 in my book for, you know, YouTube videos. I'm a jerk. What was I thinking? So I'm out here having a cigar. I got my coffee, dude, and I want to talk about my fave fives with you, which I have a handy dandy little notebook, which you think I'd be prepared since it's the second time I did this, but I'm not, because I'm not a professional. So the number 5 of my vacation fails. I don't know if they're really favorites, but they're good ones. Number 5 was I was in Florida with my cousin for a month when I was, I don't know, probably 10, 11. We were at a water slide park. It was awesome. I think it was the first time I've ever been on a water slide. It was, now that I think about it. So flying up and down the stairs, fly down the slide, up the stairs, down the slide. All day, that's all we're doing. And one fateful trip up, I tripped and I just busted my forehead wide open. I had a nice scar. As you get older, it starts to go away. Right on the corner of the cement stair, though. The only memory I have is just this blinding, flashing pain. The lifeguard, Jesus, sounds like a condor just flew over. Lifeguard running by and scooping me up, right? And then we're flying down the stairs, and just the look on all the kids' faces, they're like, oh, they were horrified because I had the crimson mask, which if you're not into wrestling, you won't know, but just blood. So all I saw was just horrified faces, and that kind of ruined the rest of that Florida vacation for a while. What are you gonna do? Hey, I still go down water slides though, to shit. So that's my number 5, my busting my forehead wide open. My number 4 was, once again, cousins, summer trip. Different cousins, though. This time we're in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, Nags Head, where the Wright brothers and stuff did their thing. Keep looking over here when the camera's over here. Nags Head's beautiful, though, if you have never been there. Except, shark attacks recently, which, that's a bummer. But whatever, I'm sure by the time I get my family there, yeah, they'll figure it out. Better get a bigger boat and whatnot. But we're boogie boarding, right? Which as a kid is awesome. As an adult, you probably look silly. But we're boogie boarding, and I'm in the top of the wave. My cousin's in the bottom of the wave. We're like, woo! We're pointing at each other and just laughing and giggling because we've done this for hours. And I came off the wave, and I landed on top of him. Now, what we didn't know, let me set my cigar down. What we didn't know is in the water next to him, in this general vicinity, when I came smashing down, he went, ah! And in between his hand and his face, there lied a jellyfish. And he flies out of water. Ah! And he just runs into, shore or whatever to his mom. We're freaking out. We didn't know what happened. I get up there, and he's just covered. He just stings his whole side of his face. He looks like Two-Face. Oh my God, I made Two-Face. He looked like the whole side of his face, his shoulder, his arm, everything was just a mess. So, once again, kind of put the kibosh on that vacation. Although if it happened now as an adult, I would offer to pee on him because it's funny. Number 3. Now we're into adulthood, quote unquote, phase of things. It's funny. I think it was the last time I was at Key West. It might have been the one. That doesn't matter. It was at Key West, and there's this really, really, really classy, high-end Italian restaurant. I'm talking 4 stars. It's pricey. It's just it's good food. It's the first place I've had escargot, which is really tasty. If you've never had it, Just give it a whirl. Get over your fears. Anyway, so I'm trying to find my stepdad. I was with a group of guys because that's one of the places he likes to go late at night. He goes and has a couple martinis and calls it a night, right? So we're trying to find him. We're hammered. I'm get a tad belligerent sometimes. But I see him through the glass from what I hear. To be fair, I have no memory of any of this. This is all from what people told me. I had physical evidence though. So I go in the restaurant, I'm like, Chuck, where are you? Let's go to the next fucking bar. Let's get out of this joint. And everyone in the restaurant, it's like a classic movie trailer, record scratch, you know. They all looked. And immediately the staff were like, he needs to be quiet or he needs to leave. And so all my friends are like, all right, Tony, you gotta take it down. It's just a nice place. I'm like, fuck these people. We're here to drink and buy. Whoa, fuck them up. And some little, like, I think they said he's like 5'3", little fella, just came out of the woodwork, grabbed me by my arm, and escorted me out. And so I apparently spent the next like 5 minutes just pacing in front of the window, right? Like some sort of like tiger, I don't know. Which then I decided, you know what? My drunk brain was like, fuck this. And I went back inside. I'm like, we gotta go to the next fucking bar, man. Fuck this place. And everyone freaked out again. And before I don't think I was 2 steps into place, the guy came out of nowhere, grabbed me by my arm, escorted me out. At this point, they paid the bills and everyone left. Now I know something happened because, like I said, I have no memory of this. But the next morning, I had a nice handprint. Oh, I just mushed the camera. I'm an idiot. A nice handprint bruise on my bicep. And at the time, like I said, this guy, from what everyone told me, was like rail thin, 5'3". Now I'm like in the 6 to 6'1" range at that time, because I was still dropping the neck fat and whatnot. I was probably like 220, and he got me right out of there. Now, granted, when I say 220, I don't mean like your Whole Foods grass-fed beef 220. I'm talking about like heavily marbled Wagyu beef. It was not a pretty sight. But that's my number 3 is Antonia's in Key West. Which, you're in Key West, you should go there because it's delicious. Now my next 2 all stem from the same vacation. Not only the same vacation, mind you, they both happened on the same goddamn day. Number 2 was on the cruise. It was with Jeannie, with Soundboard T, with our friend Jen. Sorry, I gotta keep the thing lit. It was the last day's cruise, right? And T had he had a wad of cash. He's like, you know what? I came here with this money. I am not going home with it. Let's go drinking. Oh my God. I'm gonna say no. Of course I'm gonna say yeah. So we started off at the pool bar, which is probably our favorite bar, because the guy there, Mariano, I think he's from the Philippines maybe. Dude is awesome. We made friends of him. Every time we walked by, he'd be like, TNT, TNT, he'd point at us and yell across the whole pool area. It's great. So until we started just knocking back beer after beer pitchers, because they had like Red Frog, Bullfrog Red. I don't know. It's their own beer they make. It was all right. It was cheap. Whatever. Who gives a shit? We're just hammering this stuff back. And then we look at the clock. We're like, okay, we're supposed to meet the girls at the bar at the back of the ship, because they were doing some art thing. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're going to meet them for some drinks. Well, we went to the front of the ship. We show up and there's no one there. I'm like, what the fuck, man? We're supposed to meet them here? Whatever. What we did have is we had a little Korean bartender and a little Polish bartender, right? So what do? We start drinking. And what T and I like to do when we drink together is we always eventually get to the Jägermeister. So this day has now become known as Jaeger Day. So on Jaeger Day, we just started doing shots. Boom, shot, shot, shot. I'm talking to the girls. I'm like, hey, because the one girl, she's like, oh, I love Jägermeister. The Polish girl, I love Jägermeister. And my favorite drink is Jägermeister and cranberries. I'm like, all right, well, make me some. Boom, boom, we're just drinking it. End up putting down a bottle and a half of Jägermeister. I don't know why I still drink it. But during this time, because, you know, when I found out she was Polish, because her name tag said so, Jeannie is like 100% Polish. And I started talking about Polish food. And I'm like, oh man, I love Polish food. The Krzyziki and kielbasa and pierogies and, you know, sweet and sour. I'm just drunk, slobbering, talking about Polish food. Well, I made this poor, pretty little blonde Polish bartender start crying because I made her homesick. Yeah, so that's my number 2. Made the Polish girl cry. Now, at this point, the girls met up with us because they were, you know, they were at the one bar waiting. They figured it'd go to the other and shit. Hey, there we are. It's crazy. It was almost dinner time now, and we made friends of everybody at our table in the dining room because we sit the same people every night. So, you know, you're gonna make friends. And we were like, well, we have to have dinner with them because we want to have one last meal with them, and we're gonna probably go out and, like, the guys want to hit cigars later and all that. So what happened was Jeannie drugged me to the room. She's like, you gotta clean yourself up a little bit. You gotta put on some different clothes so we can go to dinner. Okay. She goes out on her deck because we had a deck so I could, you know, have cigars. I think she was having a cigarette or something because, believe it or not, once upon a time she used to have the old Kansas stick addiction. What are you gonna do? So when she was outside, I had this great idea. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting changed. I'm already naked, almost. Let's get totally naked, because this seems like a great opportunity for a little post-dinner coitus. And I open up the door. Mind you, we're on the second level of the deck. People are walking, 10 feet below us. I open up the door, and I walk out on the deck, just nude. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? You got to get in. And I just start helicoptering my dick. And I'm yelling, if you got it, flaunt it. And she escorted me back inside. Which I, passed out on the bed. I'm guessing she wasn't real impressed by any of this. Because I woke up literally covered in luggage. Like it was just piled on me. But I did manage to get up, put on some nice clothes, stumbled to the dining room, and I made dinner on time. Not only that, I still went out with the guys afterwards. So moral of the story is, there's no really moral story. Maybe I have a problem. Maybe that's the moral of the story. Who knows? But yeah. So to recap, number 5, bust my forehead open. Number 4, jellyfish smash. Number 3, Antonia's debacle. Number 2, Polish girl crying. And number 1, if you got it, flaunt it. See you guys. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.